Somebody's asking us to do something about the numerical miracles of the Quran. Maybe we should do at least one video sometime today about that.
The numerical miracles of the Quran?
Shabir Ali has made popular, the numerical pattern that he tried to use against you in your debate. And tell me that's not an act of desperation, that now you've run out of arguments. First, it was the scientific, the miraculous scientific nature of the Quran. And once that was debunked, now sharp, informed Muslims have abandoned it for the most part. Even like a Muslim apologist like Hamza Sortsis in UK, he was checked by fellow Muslims as well as former Muslims turned atheists that all the claims he made for the scientific miracles of the Quran, like embryology, much of that information you can find in pre-Islamic sources. So he's pretty much abandoned that approach. So now they're arguing mathematical patterns of the Quran as proof of its divine origin. And yet when you point out something similar in the Bible, they say, well, no, that's just Christians spinning it, like you did in your debate, right?
Yeah, well, you can kind of do that with almost anything. You can take anything and find the mathematical marvels, because what you do is you let's say you're counting a number of words. Well, if you count a number of words and then a different number of words and it doesn't equal some mathematical marvel, well, you ignore that one, right? You ignore that one. And you keep going through different words and counting them up and counting the occurrence and things like that until you get to some pattern, and then you say, haha, it's a mathematical marvel. But then you even see some more creative ways of dealing with the issue. So for instance, it's the common claim that in the Quran uses the word day 365 times. You've heard this, right?
Yes.
The Quran uses the word day 365 times. Isn't that a miracle that Allah knew that there are 365
days?
Yes, that there are 365 days mentioned. Until you actually start looking at that claim and you find out it's absolute nonsense, right? Yeah. So there are more than 400 occurrences of the word day in the Quran. What they do is they take out the word plural, and then they take out a certain case, and so they start taking out different forms of the word day until they get the word day in certain forms adds up to 365. And why do they exclude all these other ones? There's no real explanation. It's just, this is what we need to do in order to get to the number 365, in order to claim that there's a miracle here. But then it gets presented to people. They don't say, hey, we got the number 365 by doing all these mental gymnastics and playing around with the numbers until we got to the number 365, because the word day actually occurs more than 400 times. They don't say that. They just go up to an unbeliever and say, did you know that the word day occurs in the Quran 365 times? How could Allah know this? It's a miracle. And this is it's just outright deception.
Well, here's the thing. Did they tell him that the Islamic calendar is not actually 365 days?
365.
Yeah, lunar calendar, right?
I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, why would you even rely on our calendar if that's the case? Why should you should follow the Bible then if you believe 365 days? Why do we have even an Islamic calendar? Here's the thing. I want to tell people, by the way, which Quranic manuscript are you following when it comes to the numerical argument? Do you know that there are a lot of missing passages in the early Quran, basically? Okay. I mean, the best, basically, Quran that we have right now, the early Quran is the top copy, has more than 2,200 actually problems in it and variations. That's the best we have.
And regardless, I mean, if you go with Ibn Masud's Quran, he didn't believe that Surah 1, Surah 113, and Surah 114 are supposed to be in the Quran. Right? So his Quran had 111 chapters. Well, if you go with his Quran, then
it doesn't work.
That throws off your mathematical marvels.
Or Ubay
ibn Ka'b, he had 2 extra chapters, right? He had 116, not 114. So he had 2 additional chapters. That's going to throw off your mathematical marvels. And what's interesting is Muhammad told his followers, if you want to learn the Quran from anyone, he named 4 people. Ubay and Ibn Masud were 2 of the 4, and Ibn Masud was number 1. That was his top guy to learn the Quran from. The top scholar of the Quran, according to Muhammad himself.
So take the average.
Said that this Quran contains 3 chapters that aren't supposed to be in the Quran. Now, that presents you with a problem, because I would assume Muhammad knows who the best guy with respect to the Quran is.
Right.
So if Muhammad knows, then guess what? This Quran contains extra chapters. Or if you Muslims believe this is the correct Quran, then Muhammad didn't know. Yeah. Muhammad didn't know who knew the Quran and who didn't. And so that calls a lot into question. Well,